Sebastien Douville. I am a partner and COO at FirePower Capital. We're an M&A advisory firm as well as a private equity and private debt firm. We have about 60 people, offices in Toronto and Cape Town in South Africa. The project we did together had to do with one of our divisions, which we now call Spearhead. Spearhead is an advisor to some of the largest strategic acquirers and private equity companies in the world. And those are often very acquisitive companies. So they look to make a number of acquisitions per year. And they're often involved in very fragmented industries, like say plumbing or web hosting. And one of the challenges that they have is that there's a lot of targets to acquire in those markets. And to document all of them, to reach out to them, and to coordinate that outreach and documenting it and tracking it is very complex and challenging. And so we set out to build a platform that will allow them to do that with our assistance. So it's a mix of services and technology to solve the problem. We chose Ingeno for four main reasons. One is that we've had developers on the Salesforce CRM for a long time. We've been building on that platform for a while, but they were offshore with some presence in Canada, but not a large enough firm for us to trust them with something that we perceived to be far more complex than anything we've ever done before. So that's one. The second one is that we needed someone who had a good sense of aesthetics, right? That could build a very compelling interface, a very pretty one that'd be easy to use, but also handle very complex workflows. We needed absolute clarity on who owned the IP once we were done. So, intellectual property and who it eventually ended up with was important. And lastly, we don't have product people or developers in-house. I'm the closest to a product person that you could get to, and that wasn't sufficient for our purposes for this project. And so we needed a strong team of project managers, of architects, people that could speak our language, understand our requirements, and translate them into feature requests that developers would understand. In the previous way we delivered our service, it was quite time consuming, quite annoying. And so they took a fair amount of time to get back to us on a task that they perceived is absolutely necessary, but is again, time consuming, annoying. And so for them to be shown a portal that they can access, and that is a beautiful layout that is very easy to use, it just made their days so much more enjoyable and our interactions a lot more productive and fun. And so that meant a lot to me, right? To see those client interactions improve over time. Internally, we've seen major improvements as we would expect. We coded and codified all the workflows that we used to execute on either manually, or some of them were automated already, but now it's all under one roof, if you will. And they're triggered as soon as our clients act on what we're asking them to do in the portal. And so we've saved, or we will save rather, hundreds of hours of our research team, and our research team should be able to go back to doing what they do best, which is research. Fascinating to gain an edge, right? In a very competitive industry, to have something like this where we could argue in front of our clients or prospects that we've got something that stands out, that's very different, that likely nobody else has, and we see that in the portal that we've built with Ingeno. Yeah, I'd recommend you guys for sure. And I would say there's 5 reasons for doing so. One is that you actually came in on time and on budget, which for software development is remarkable. I haven't deployed that many platforms in my career, but I've always been told that it is extremely unlikely that something is on time and on budget. And so, commend the whole team for delivering it on time and on budget. It was clear during the project that we were dealing with very, very high quality personnel, that it was an elite team that we were dealing with. So that was very reassuring throughout the project. Right? So the Ingeno sales team was the most inquisitive, it was curious, and it asked the best questions of any of the firms that we interviewed. The scoping part was also extremely attractive, where your team was able to show us how they perform relative to their original estimates on other projects. And so I had a lot of confidence that when you were saying that you would be on time and on budget, that you would actually do that. How the project was managed, the transparency of the budget versus actuals, and how challenges along the way were surfaced and discussed. I would say that's the 5th point, and why I would recommend Ingeno. And our clients were just excited, really. They're already thinking about what else they could do with the platform, and they're sending us ideas as to where we could take it for them. And I think that speaks volumes of the work you've done. My expectations were exceeded in that you guys were able to work unsupervised between our regularly scheduled meetings. I wasn't bombarded with questions. You generally were silent essentially between meetings, which was great. I didn't hear from you. And as they say, no news is good news. And so that was very much the case throughout the project. And I was also very surprised by how prepared you were for our regularly scheduled meetings. The questions that were asked showed that you knew what you were talking about, that you were deep in the project, and that you were making real progress along the way. The only thing I can think of is that towards the end of the project, we thought testing was a little bit rushed. Wish that we had maybe another week to finish that out. Right from the start, you gave a very detailed project plan and budget and timeline. And as we progressed through the project, it materialized. What you said would happen happened. And so that's why I would say it's predictable. Working remotely with Ingeno was really our only option. We were based in Toronto. I had some team members in Calgary. So we had to do it remotely. But I would say that even if our offices were right next to one another, virtual meetings would have been perfectly fine. They were efficient, they were cordial, communications were good. During the meetings, all the issues that needed to be surfaced were surfaced and discussed, and email was a perfectly fine medium otherwise. Since we weren't stuck in the details, because of the quality of Ingeno's team, we were able to focus on how we would roll this out to our clients and do it at a pace that they would be okay with. And so, we were very deliberate about how we did that. And so, yes, there were bugs. There's always bugs. But we were ready for them. We had built that into our rollout strategy, and our clients were just excited, really, to join the portal that we had built for them, and so they were great with giving us feedback if anything was buggy. And in the end, Ingeno stepped in quickly and efficiently and fixed the bugs. In one sentence, I would say that if you have a very complex project where you can't fail, you must succeed, and you need certainty in terms of cost and timelines, then I would say Ingeno is the right partner.